Hi, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play Minecraft. I am your humble host. See you later. And what is this behind me you see is I have moved our animal pens from this little area where they were before, and I built a huge monstrosity of a barn. So let's take a look at it. Basically, I've got three pens, one for the cows over here, and pigs in the back here, and then over on this side I've got some sheeps. And I like this little floor design using the stripped logs. These are the stripped spruce logs. And the upper part of this, I was thinking maybe I'll decorate it a little bit with some hay bales and things like that, make it look like a storage, but I don't actually have any access to it right now. And I was really just trying to make a different kind of roof design, something that would look a little more interesting. Still not 100% sold on this one. I'm using slabs here, which means that these blocks are actually spawnable, and I am getting a little bit of mob spawns here and there, but that's nothing really major. It's a lot bigger than I had originally planned that it was going to be as far as how tall it is. But yeah, it's I think maybe I might do a little more to it to change up it's all made out of spruce slabs and stairs. I think maybe it needs a little bit of some trim work done to it, but yeah. But that's something we'll take a look at another time. This time, what I want to do is I want to go over in this. How do I walk backwards? There is a desert over in that direction behind me over there. And I think what I'd like to do is today is get started on our mob farm. So stick around and I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab some materials and I'm going to get a bed so that we can sleep while we're over there working. And then when we come back, we'll get started on working on our mob farm. All right, see you in just a little bit. All right, guys, so we're back, and here we are. We're in our little desert that's not too far away from the house, and I think this is where we're going to set up our mob farm. So I can't remember if I mentioned before, but I know that most of the time people will set up deserts in oceans so that there's no mobs that can spawn on the ground, and then they put them, up in the air. We're going to put this one up in the air as well, but we're going to do it so that the whole thing is inside of this desert biome. And the reason for that is that the zombie spawns are going to be limited. So I think the first thing that we need to do is I want to try to flatten out this area around where we're going to be. So I'll take down, see that little peak behind me back there? I'm going to take some of this stuff down around in the area. And that's probably going to lead to me having to dig a lot of sand, which is okay because we can always use sand for glass, and that's not a problem at all. So I'm going to work on that for a little bit, and then once we're done with that, we'll figure out what the height is that we want to build our platform, and then we'll start pillaring up to it and get started on our building. So I'm going to go ahead and dig some sand for a little while. And I'll go ahead and I'll do some recording. Or maybe I'll put it on one of those speed up bits. So, yep, stick around and let me flatten out this desert. All right, guys, we're back, And I did a little bit of flattening out here. You can see I just kind of flattened off this little area, and then any of the tall peaks that were around near the edges back there, I kind of knocked those down as well. Because the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to, I've just kind of roughly picked which going to be the central point of our mod spawner. So this block right here, and we have a pretty good distance between all of these little areas that are raised up above our flat part here. Now what I'm thinking is, and you know, I'm not an expert in Minecraft mob spawning mechanics or anything like that, but what I'm thinking is that the 128 block radius for mobs to instantly despawn, I believe that's a radius, meaning that it's like a circle. It's like a sphere around where you are. So I'll have to look it up and make sure. And if I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure that's the way it works. But that means 128 blocks in a circle around where I am, both on the horizon, and a circle that goes, you know, above and then below you. So if we make this block or this level right here our 0 block, and our mob spawner is between this block and where we will AFK 128 blocks up. So if let's say I go up maybe 200 blocks, and that's our AFK spot. So we'll stand above the mob spawner by let's see, what did I say, 200. We'll only be above the mob spawner itself by about 30 blocks, between 25 and 30 blocks. But the mob spawner itself can actually be lower as long as we are above it far enough so that this block is then 128 blocks away from us. Now if we do it that way, we should not get any mob spawns down here on the ground, or if they do, they should instantly despawn, which means it'll improve the efficiency of our mob spawner up in the sky. So the sun is about to go down now, and what I'm going to do is I've got these 2 boxes, shulker boxes of terracotta, and I think just to use a different building material, I'm going to do it out of, the whole build is going to be done from this terracotta. But what I would like to do is just do an experiment. I'd like to go up, so if we have, you know, let's see, 40 and 60, again, math on camera, don't blame me, that's 100 blocks. Okay, so if we do that again, 60 and 40, that's, oh, not 40, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and then that would be 200. So that's what we have. So we've got 2 stacks, 3 stacks, and 8 makes 200. Okay, that sounds about right. So what we're going to do now is, and I'll put one more block here so that we are exactly, we've already got mob spawns happening. I see a husk over there. Husk. Yep. So we're going to go right here. This is going to be our number 1 block, or our 0 block. So we're going to go up. Now, as you guys could see, maybe as soon as I got a few blocks up, we actually did have some spawns that started happening right around in that area. But what I've noticed is they're all outside of our flattened area, the little place that we flattened out. So I'm going to keep going, and what we're going to do is see if I can look down and see, are these mobs that are down here, are they actually despawning when we get up high enough? So you can see they're spawning in down there. There's some skeletons. Oh, there's a skeleton jockey, spider jockey. Creepers, spiders. You can see there's no, I don't see any zombies other than the husk. And the husk have to have exposure to the sky in order to in order to spawn. So if you build a mob spawner in a desert, you get very few normal zombies spawning, and then the husk won't spawn if you have the roof on top of your spawner. So the idea behind that is basically that you're going to get less zombie flesh and more of the other drops that you want, like gunpowder and bones for bone meal, and we'll still get spiders as well. So we'll get string. Should have plenty of that stuff. So now we're up 2 stacks high, and I can't see. Yeah. So okay. So we see that we still have some. Oh, I hope I didn't aggro with that guy. I would hate for him to teleport up here. I don't think I did aggro him. But there's a couple of Endermen down there, but I don't see any more mobs. Okay, and we still have another stack to go to get to the 64 height. So let's keep going. Well, I said 64 height. I meant 200. And I can still see down there, and I believe I should still be able to see if there were any mobs. And no, I don't see any now. Don't see any mobs. So we're not quite at the 200 already. We're actually almost 64 blocks under that. So I'm thinking that this area probably is a good spot right here, because what we want to be able to do is we can still go up to all the way to 256 if we wanted to, but we only need to be about between, I think, 24 and 32 blocks away, so that the mobs will spawn and that they'll be active and won't despawn. And then as they spawn, we're going to use some platforms with water streams, and the water streams will push them into the center, and then they'll go down and fall to their death. And any of them that wear armor they'll fall onto. I'm going to use magma blocks, and then underneath the magma blocks, we're just going to set up a simple a hopper minecart underneath the magma blocks to pick up all the items and put them into a sorting system. So yeah, this height that we're at right here, we are at 211. So I think what I'm going to do is make it an even 200. And this is where we're going to build our mob farm right here. So I'm going to put a little bit of a platform up here, and then I'm going to light it up, and then I'll go back down and grab some more resources and bring everything up here so that we can finish out the project. Basically, for the spawner part of it up here up top. So, alright guys, let me work on this platform, and then I'll be right back. Alright guys, so we're back, and we have a nice beautiful orange platform up here that is 18 by 18 blocks, and here you can see the shape I was talking about before in the middle. So when we put we're going to use dispensers, and when we put the dispensers in the corners, they're going to come off a few blocks and then drop down, and then it's going to flow out, and the water will meet up across these orange blocks here. And then at the end, when we're finished, I'll knock out these places here where I have the red. But in the meantime, I think for the next layer, I'm going to switch my colors over. I'm going to switch over to the red terracotta. And I'm just using terracotta because I was over collecting up terracotta in our little mesa over there in that direction. And I was getting some red sand for some other projects, and I thought this is a great material that's it's not stone, it's something different, it's not wood, and I just wanted to build out of something different. So the way we're going to do this shape, this is where the dispenser is going to go, so that's why I left a space there. And then this shape is going to be like thusly: 1 2 3 4 5 6 blocks, just like that, in both directions. So we'll go 1 2 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're going to fill this in a diagonal. So you'll go across just like this. And this design is based on Pixel Riff mod spawner. He did a single tier. I'm going to do 3 tiers. But this design is pretty cool because it really gives you a much larger spawning space than you would normally get. Welcome back, guys. And so here's the shape once I've got the corners put in that you're going to be looking for. I just pillared up here a few blocks so that we could take a look at the shape. So the dispensers that are going to have water buckets in them are going to go in those corners right over there. So we'll have 1 over there, 2, 3, and 4. And if everything is set up properly, when the water comes out, it'll run along these blocks and down, and these blocks and down, and then it'll fill this entire area with streams that are pushing towards this kind of plus shape. So those red blocks will be taken out, and there'll be nothing underneath except for the platform that we make out of the magma blocks. Okay guys, we're back, and I've just finished putting up the roof on top, and the roof is a bottom half slab of dark oak, and that's going to keep us from having to put lights on top, and no mobs will spawn on top of the half slab. So the level is finished, the 3 levels are finished. I've got all the dispensers in. Each dispenser has a water bucket inside. And just to show you what will happen, let me take this 1 water bucket. When the dispenser dispenses the water out, it's going to go like right here in this block. And as you can see, it's going to flow down off of this first tier down here, and it'll go across. And these will overlap. And see how the water stops just in this shape right here? So that block will fill in. And then this block will fill in, these blocks right here will fill in, and the water won't flow over those blocks. So this should push all the mobs that spawn in here whenever we turn the water on, should push them all towards the center. And as long as we leave it on long enough, they should fall down to the killing platform down below. Let's see, grab all these shulker boxes. Grab that. And our redstone box. Whoop! See, good thing we had our elytra. I totally fell down. No worries. Got a nice big landing platform up here. And I'll just break through and then hop down again. Oh, and we have another creeper buddy. Hey, creeper buddy, that's who we want to see up here. We want to see lots of creepers up here. Does that line up? I believe it does. So we'll just put a platform out here for us to work off of, and then we'll get started on putting up the redstone. Now the way the redstone is going to work is it's just going to wrap around in a circle from this point, which is where we're going to put the timer. And I think for this farm we're going to use the hopper timer, but I'll use the silent version. And I don't know about you guys, but does that look like does that kind of resemble a double cheeseburger? Completely unintentional to make a giant cheeseburger mob farm. Okay guys, we're back, and just pillared up here a little bit off of the platform. Now we had a platform underneath, and I made one above that basically lines up with this level where the redstone is. That's where we're going to put the clock, is where those blocks are by the ender chest. And as you can see, where the dispensers are, I have a redstone repeater. On these upper 2 levels, it was a little bit different because I can't take out those floor blocks right there, because those floor blocks actually would end up exposing the letting light in to the platform below. So what I had to do was make another ring of the diorite that goes all the way around, and the redstone's going to come from the clock, and on the bottom level it'll go out to those repeaters, and then that just carries on around to the other 2 sides. And then I made just a little half slab stairs here like a stair step for the redstone to come up. So it's going to go up here just like this, and then that'll trigger these repeaters to send out. And then I had to come out away from the block by one so that the repeater can go into the block underneath the dispenser. If you just ran the redstone around, it would connect to itself and it wouldn't power the block. So now this part is the hopper timer, and I figured this might be a good time to show you guys how this hopper timer works. So basically what you want to do is you put a you're going to make a hopper clock. So you're going to put a hopper facing into another hopper, just like this. And if I put a block in there, like if I just put one piece of netherrack in there, see how it just bounces back and forth? So it's going into one hopper, and then as soon as it goes into that hopper, it comes back into the other hopper. Then we're going to put down a couple of comparators that are going to be checking that inventory on those hoppers. So if I put them down here, you can see they know whenever there's that item is bouncing back and forth, and bounces back and forth here on these comparators. Now if I put a couple of redstone torches, which I have right here, on here, you'll see that as this is powering the block, it actually will turn off the redstone torch. So it causes them to alternate back and forth. Now we're going to use these redstone torches to lock another set of hoppers. So this clock will only have one item in it. And then this clock up here, when we put the second one down, we'll just put one here going into that one, and then this one will be facing into that one. Now as you can see, as that clock on the other side bounces back and forth, these hoppers will get locked as these torches are on. And then to get a signal out, basically what we want to do is put another set of comparators out here, and those comparators will pulse once as the hoppers are transitioning from empty to full again. So depending on how many items you put in here, so if I put in, let's say we'll use netherrack again. Let's say I put in 4 pieces of netherrack. So this will start counting down, and then up, and then down, and then up, and then down. And then what's happening is, as it's going up, it's locked over here, and then when it's empty, it flips over and locks the other one. Let me put a few more pieces in there. We'll make it 8 just to slow it down just a little bit. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And each time, this one's locked and goes up, and then when this one is empty, it goes back down again. And as you can see, it just alternates back and forth. And then the more items you put in here, the slower the timer will run. Now the way we want to run a signal off of this is, I'm just gonna take all the blocks out of it for now. And then I think what we're gonna do, we're gonna put maybe about a stack in here. So that's gonna give enough time, I think, for the water to turn on, wash all the mobs out. And then it'll also leave it off for long enough that it'll give the mobs time to spawn. And the way you take a signal off of this guy is you basically just put a redstone torch here, and you can see as long as this comparator is on, okay, that will be off. The torch will be off, but as soon as it pulses, as soon as it transfers to the other side, this will turn off just briefly, which will allow you to just get one pulse off of this redstone right here. So if we just wait just a second, we might see that happen. There it went. See that? So just for a split second, as these hoppers are transitioning, you'll get that output. And the way you take a signal from this torch to get the whole system running is you just need to put a piece of redstone dust right Oh, not that one. Right there. So I triggered the system. But yeah, so now this all should be working. I hear mobs inside, and whenever the water turns on, if we leave it on for long enough, it will wash all of those mobs out into that middle circle underneath there. So the next thing that we need to do, now that this part's done, is we need to go down and, okay, there, it just triggered again. So it's going to start washing out, and yep, we can see, look at all those mobs coming out. Holy cow, that's good. This is going to be awesome mob farm, you guys. This is going to be awesome mob farm. Okay, so now that that's doing its thing, we need to figure out how to go down here, down that pillar that I made over there, and we're going to go down about 30 blocks, and we're going to make the floor that these guys are going to fall onto. Hi guys, and we're back again, and have pretty much finished up our collection system. So let me show you how this is going to work, hopefully. Above us I've got these magma blocks. I'm just going to knock a couple out. And the idea is that the mobs will fall from that hole down to this field of magma blocks. And what I did was I made it 2 blocks wider all the way around than that hole. So hopefully if they have any momentum at all when they come down, they won't land on top of the edge of that wall. And I have slabbed that wall on top so that the mobs can't jump out and there won't be any mob spawns on it. So then what I have underneath is there is a hopper minecart, and it's sitting on a powered rail that's not powered right now on top of this hopper. Now that hopper is giving a signal to this comparator, and the comparator is going to, turn off this redstone torch whenever there are items in the hopper. Now I put this lever here just so I can turn it off and deactivate the system. So if I turn it on, you'll see that the redstone torch will turn on, and that'll power this block and this repeater, which will send power to this block, which will turn on that powered rail. So if I flip the lever, not place a block, flip the lever. There we go, we see it going. Now these are mostly just regular rails, and then in the middle I have powered rails going down. So each line has one powered rail, and underneath that there's a set of levers I just place levers underneath the blocks and turn all the levers on. So those powered rails will have plenty of juice to give momentum to the minecart so that it keeps going back and forth. I did want to have a way to turn it off in case I'm going to not be around here, because I think when you leave a minecart running and then you unload and reload chunks, sometimes it can get like it'll stop, and it might be way like in the back there. So I want to, each time when I'm done, I'll turn off the switch here, and then once the cart comes back, it'll stop, and then the system will basically just be waiting for us to come back and turn it back on again. So yeah, I hope that that's going to be enough time to collect all the stuff into this hopper right here. Now this hopper feeds down into a line of hoppers, which is right in here, and that line of hoppers goes from there all the way back. That's this set of hoppers right here goes all the way back into this last one, and then each one of these hoppers is a part of the filter system. So the feeding line is the one that is above. This is the one that comes from the hopper minecart, and it'll try to put items into each one of these hoppers. And if this hopper is filtered, so I just stuck a little bit of gunpowder in this one, and then I'll stick some bones in this one. Don't have a lot of the other drops just yet. So what'll happen is it'll try to put whatever it can into this hopper, But if this hopper is, let's say like it is now, it'll have to fill this up. And then once the item comes in that matches with this item, it'll power the redstone. And there's a repeater underneath, and then a redstone torch on the other side of that block. So these hoppers right now, if I take one piece of gunpowder out, if I put it in this hopper, you'll see it's actually locked right now. So this hopper won't put anything in unless the signal is strong enough from the filter hopper to give the redstone signal down. And then once that does happen, it'll unlock this one and then let the items flow down. And then from there it just goes into this hopper, into this chest, and then there's another hopper underneath that one for this chest. So I have two double chests set up for each of the different items. And then the last set over here has no filter, so it's basically the overflow. So any other items that we don't have in our big storage up here will come into this set of double chests down here. So that's pretty much the same kind of filtration system that we did in the down in the mine for the stone and the shulker box unloader. But for right now, let's go ahead and turn this sucker on and see what happens. We're gonna make it. Yeah, we made it. We got stuck underneath the block. Okay, so you can hear the water is flowing. I'm going to turn the water off. Excuse me. I'm going to turn the turn this lever off, which will reactivate the timer. And then after it's finished pulsing, the water will turn off, and we'll see if we start getting some mob drops. Now I'm too close to it right now for mobs to spawn, so I think what I'll do for the time being, since it is daytime, I'm just going to wait down here by the filter system. And I should be far enough away now that if any mobs are going to come, I'll see them coming down. So we'll give it just a minute and then come back and we'll see what's going on. Looks like it's working. Wow, look at that. Seems to be some couple of spiders getting stuck there for just a second, but I think the water is on long enough for it to pick them up. Did I remember to turn the minecart back on? I don't think I did. Alright guys, I'm back, and it's been a minute since you have been gone, and I had a little bit of a problem, but I seem to have gotten it fixed now. I'm just checking. So there's a bunch of items being picked up right now, and now the comparator is working to pick up the items. Unloading, and then it should take back off again. Now, the problem that I was facing, which is, you know, sometimes you're going to run into these things. I saw a tutorial on how to make this unloader. And all of the tutorials that I looked at had the hopper going into a chest. That was what would make the comparator pick up whenever there's items inside of this hopper. The problem is, if you have, I don't know if you guys can see, but if you just put an item in briefly, like that, one, see, the comparator doesn't turn on, and the hopper, if it unloads fast enough, it'll actually unload all of the items so fast that the comparator never picks it up that it has anything in it. Okay, and what was happening with me is I had a hopper underneath this hopper here to feed into the distribution for the filter system. And the problem was that this hopper was feeding into the second hopper so quickly that the comparator never picked up a signal that that this first hopper had anything in it. And it really gave me a big headache, and I was trying to figure out, you know, I tried to move this comparator down and to see if it would pick up the second hopper, and then I couldn't figure out how to get it hooked back up into the rail properly. And so I went back and I went into my creative world, and what I did was I just played around with some different ideas of how to fix this. And the solution was, instead of a hopper here, to have a chest here as a buffer. And that basically slows down this hopper just enough so that the comparator can pick up a signal. Now I wanted the hopper to go into the chest, and then the chest into the hopper for the line of the filter system, which is working really great. I have 29 items in the buffer here, and if we go down, you can see just in a few minutes, almost 3 stacks of gunpowder, almost 3 stacks of bones, very little rotten flesh. Like I said, that was the reason why we chose to do this in the desert, because I'm not getting very many zombie spawns at all. And then a stack and a quarter of string. I don't believe, and we're getting a bunch of arrows as well. I don't believe we're getting enough of the other items to register yet. I did hear a couple of witches die, and I only picked up some sticks from that. So we'll see if there's enough of any other bulk items. So basically I have one filter slot here that's free. Could have got away with this system just having the others, and it's not a problem to have that. So if I have other odd items, I could just use both of these sets of chests as overflow. But for right now, the system is working really well. Now when I'm standing down here, mobs are spawning down below us at the nighttime. So the spawner doesn't work very good at night if you're standing here. But if I go up above the spawner, it'll work day or night. And I even made a little AFK spot 25 blocks up above. So, but even still, just in the little bit of time that it took me to figure out how to solve this problem, I was able to collect, more gunpowder than I've had in the entire game at once so far. And literally, when I say a few minutes, it's only been about a half an hour. And that's with me having turned this off, because to fix this, I couldn't just put a chest here. If I put a chest here, it wouldn't feed into the filter system. So I had to put the chest above. Problem is, that was the level of the minecart rail system. And in order to get it to work out, I had to take this entire magma block killing floor and rail system, and I had to move from this block up. I had to move this whole thing up by 1 block, just so that I could put the chest there and put a hopper on top of the chest. So I figured that would be a lot quicker than trying to move the filter system down by a block. And I made this falling floor at 30 blocks below the drop off from the mob farm. So now it's 29 blocks, and I believe you only really need, for most mobs, 25 or 26 blocks to fall before they die from fall damage. So good thing I put in a little bit of a buffer there so that we have room to move this up by 1 block. The mobs are still falling down. They're still dying. I haven't seen any that are being killed by the magma blocks, but it may just be that their health is so low that the magma blocks only need to, do just a little bit of damage. But definitely no mobs have survived. Now the other thing that I was wondering about, of course, was the spread. I mentioned that earlier, and that's the reason why I made this so much bigger. But I have to say, I think I could have made this whole thing about 1 block smaller, because all of the mobs are falling right in the middle. I only once in a while have I seen one fall onto this this set of blocks that are, like if this is 1N, this is 2N. I've only seen them fall on this second row. I've never seen any of them falling on this row. But, it still could be a good thing to have that little bit of a buffer, just in case, just in case there's a strong wind or something and it happens to blow the mobs around. For the time being, I can close this up now. The minecart is going to run all the time until if I flip that lever over there, it won't run. But for now, I don't really need to go back up there now that I've verified that everything is working properly. And what I think I'll do is I might just make a little I might make just a little bit of a torch tower here, or just a tiny little bit of redstone, so that I don't have to climb up to try to reach that lever if I want to turn the system off. As you can see, I can reach it here, so that's okay too. If I turn that off, it just parks the minecart. And if I'm AFK here for, getting mob drops, then I definitely want to leave it on. So, yeah. So, yep, that's it, guys. The mob farm is working, and you can hear now that it's daytime and the mobs aren't spawning down below anymore. We're getting some more. We're getting some more stuff falling down. And see, there's some gunpowder right there, and it should get picked up by the minecart here in just a second. There it goes, and then that'll drop it off over in the system. You'll see that redstone repeater turn off, and that lets us know that the items are getting dropped off into the hoppers down below. It looked like that was just the one item, so it went pretty quick. Yeah, I'm really happy with it so far. I'm gonna do some AFK, and when you come back in the next session, next episode, hopefully we'll have chests and chests and chests full of of drops, and I'll have lots of stuff to show you. But for right now, I'm just gonna log off. Well, I'm not gonna log off. I'm gonna leave the game running, and I'm gonna go, eat some dinner, do some things. And yeah, I made this for AFK, so I'm gonna AFK for a while, and come back next time and hang out with me again. We'll do some more cool stuff. I really think this is going to make things awesome. For we're gonna have unlimited rockets now. We'll be able to make as many rockets as we want. We'll be able to fly around with our elytra all of the time, anytime we want to. You can see their visitors coming from up above right now. So yeah, this thing is working, and the filter system is working. So far so good. And if I run into any other things, I'll let you know in the next one. But for now, thanks for stopping by, and I am see you later, and I will see you later, guys. See you later. Bye bye.